Good morning, everybody. I'm Cody Ekle. I'm Director of Technical Support at Mailprotector. So I run the support team and make sure that all our partners are happy and everything works all the time. Aside from that, I was an MSP for several years till I sold the business, and I've been in email security and hyper-focused on it for about 7 years now. As we've been up here, we've typically talked about Shield. This is our API gateway solution, and what it does is it holistically protects email, prevents spam, helps with phishing, and it has AI that learns each individual mailbox and builds a profile for each user. That solves a very specific kind of pain that people experience every day, and that's the pain of getting email that you don't want when you actually just want to get to business and be doing what you need to do. Today I actually want to talk about a different product we offer at Mailprotector that solves a different kind of pain. And we all have interacted with encryption, compliant industries, people who need to protect sensitive data. And what then you do is you go out and you search for a product that will solve this need. It needs to hit AES 256 standards, it needs to be easy to use, and it needs to be something that my users are actually going to want to use. But when Mailprotector went out to try to find this type of product, we spent about 6 years trying to OEM an encryption product. We said we wanted to focus on email security. Maybe someone has a good encryption product out there already. And what we found was a bunch of roadblocks. They were difficult to install. It took a long time. It required plugins that went out of date. It required applications that needed to be updated. Users didn't want to learn the new technology. It became something cumbersome. We had to teach our partners who were in the test group and had to, as a result, teach their end users. Then we ran into issues with, let's make something that's easy to use, doesn't require a plugin. So it required account creation. So now users who weren't paying us any money, weren't giving us margin or anything like that, were people we had to support. Our users would send out encrypted email to their end users. Those people created an account. They would forget their passwords. They would have issues setting up the accounts. And what this resulted in was us constantly trying to keep up and help those people with what we would consider level 1 situations. And kind of finally, we ran into people just stopped using encryption because it was too difficult to use. They'd have to log into a separate portal constantly. They'd have weird triggers that didn't work quite well enough, or they wouldn't trigger when they were supposed to. We were supporting products constantly and just trying to get end users to actually use the encryption. So what we found was you either had to choose security or simplicity. It was either so easy and it was TLS encryption and no one had to think about it, but it didn't meet standards, or it was so secure that it was difficult to use and end users just stopped using it, frankly. So what Mailprotector wanted to come up with was something that people wanted to use but kept this level of security standard. And our CTO, after trying to find it for 6 years, threw his hands in the air, said, I'll just do it myself. So what we came up with was Bracket. And the first thing we wanted to think about was the trigger. What is something easy that end users can use where they're not going to get bogged down and have to learn a new product and all the problems I expressed before. So what we did was we said we just want them to be able to use their email like they normally do. All they have to do is in their email application with Bracket is wrap the subject in brackets. And that email will be encrypted automatically. There's no setup, there's no applications, there's no plugin. The deployment is extremely easy. It takes a minute or two. It's just creating connectors and transport rules or the equivalent in any other system. What's awesome about this is you can also set the trigger to be anything you want. So if your users are already trained on a good trigger from a previous product, such as the word secure, where it automatically encrypts based on sensitive data, Bracket can be set up to use those as well. So we wanted to remove user training from the picture. On top of this, after these issues got solved, we wanted to solve the recipient problem. The account creation, the resets, the supporting people we don't know. And what we ended up doing was we send an email. And what's great about email is we actually have a ton of information in an SMTP packet that we can use to create an account. So what we did was we created the account for the recipient, then we send the email to them, and they simply get a sign-in link to click on, and that brings them directly to their Bracket inbox. The Bracket inbox is somewhere people can interact directly. It becomes somewhat of an instant messaging system where they're talking in an encrypted environment and can respond nearly instantaneously. Now, we made it easy. We made it easy to install. We made it easy to use. We made it easy for the recipient. And immediately, the response was, how is it secure? because if it's easy, it's not secure. And that's what everyone ran into in the past. We don't use passwords. We don't use anything like that. What we leverage is the mailbox's security. Creating an account and having a password is behind one, maybe two layers of security, and that's guessing someone's password. We all know here how good passwords get made, and they're not usually good. They're really easy to guess. You figure out someone's pet name and you can get into their account. So we wanted to avoid passwords entirely, and the sign-in link, how we keep it safe is it's in the mailbox, which is behind those layers of security. We have device fingerprinting, so once it's clicked, that device is signed, and then only that device can open that email unless it requires re-authentication. We added multi-factor authentication as well. And then you can keep adding layers if you want. Most people stop at multi-factor authentication, but you could add a password if you've added those other security methods already. And then finally, you can download a certificate on the computer where you have to authenticate using that certificate on the computer up to the portal. So you can pick your level of security if you want on Bracket. Now, with all this, now it's secure, it's easy to use, it's easy to install, it's easy to support. We wanted to make sure when you were in the Bracket portal it was fully functional, something people wanted to use, and we just wanted to say, let's make it look like a normal inbox. So that's what we did. Why complicate things? Users know what this looks like. And it's a fully functional mailbox as well. We've actually had people use it when there were outages, because you can send directly from the Bracket portal, you can receive directly to it. It's turned into a continuity solution as well at times, which was a funny side effect. Finally, we survey our partners, we ask our partners what they want. We try to keep really good communication with our partners, and after using Bracket for about 3 years, we learned that about 76% of all emails were just attachments being sent back and forth. There was no actual body content, it was just a file being sent. So what we did was we created Bracket Share. This is no additional cost. It comes with Bracket, but we wanted the most used thing being done in Bracket to be easy to do. So all they do is they can have this pulled up, they drag and drop their files, they tell us where to send it, and we send those secure files to that person. On top of this, and my favorite feature about Bracket Share is the link here. This link, if anyone clicks on it, is brought to Bracket, regardless of if they own an account or not, and they can drag and drop files as needed as well. So it creates two-way communication. Instead of asking someone to log in, you just give them a link, they get logged in, and they can go ahead and start using the product immediately. Now, the cherry on top is this is a massively growing industry. Data integrity and data security is becoming important even to people who aren't in IT. People don't want their data shared, they don't want it leaked. So email encryption is becoming a hot topic, and it comes up more and more as we talk to our partners as well. So this business is going to triple within the next few years because people don't want their data to get out on the internet, and they want to make sure it's safe. On top of all this, we're finding everybody needs encryption. Before it was a compliance discussion. Oh, we have to be HIPAA compliant. We have to be FINRA compliant. We need FIPS compliance. And those discussions are what happened before. Now it's, hey, my lawn care business handles credit cards. How do we make sure those credit card numbers are kept safe, but also we can communicate quickly? You can hand out encryption to the person who handles your financial information, and they can go ahead and use that as well. So encryption has turned into something that everybody needs instead of just a couple people need or certain specific verticals need.